Hi, and welcome to the Route to CISO Byte Size podcast. I'm your host, Chris Rides, and in these bite-sized episodes, we'll be speaking to experienced cybersecurity hiring managers. We'll be asking their advice on how you can stand out from the crowd to make the career moves you desire. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Route to CISO Byte-sized episode. I'm your host, Chris Rides, and today I've got with me Ben Harris. Ben, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, this is, I've got to say, I so appreciate you doing this at short notice. So this is really interesting and a little bit different for me. You met Chrissy, my colleague, and she said, you've got to speak to Ben. He'd make a great guest on the podcast. And so we literally had a chat yesterday. And as we were chatting through, I was like, we've got to record this. And between mine and your travels, the following day was the best time, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I love this. So thank you again for joining. Do you want to give everybody just an introduction to you and your background, please?
Sure. So at the end of 2025, I completed a long run as a VP CISO for Rakuten Advertising. If you're not familiar with that company, it's an affiliate marketing network. And so since then, I've been trying to deliberately figure out where the next opportunity is. So I've done kind of the basic things that you would expect, like a lot of networking, a lot of talking to peers to try and, figure out the state of security and talk about opportunities. But I did something which I wasn't expecting to do, but I just kind of got caught up in this. And this is the first month I did almost nothing but like dig into AI. And the thing is that as I got into it and I started to build things, I realized like I could build all kinds of amazing applications, right? And so I just started building applications to solve problems, personal and professional. And so I found that really, really interesting. And I sort of have some things that I think could be helpful for an aspiring CISO. By the way, one of the things that I did was like, I did that and I started my job hunt and I realized I got to build out a system, a management system for my job hunt. So I stopped and did a week and built that out, and that's been super helpful.
I love this. We always have a saying in for a lot of recruiters in that like finding a job is a job in itself, right? And it's why it's so difficult to do it when you're actually already in a job, and to take the time. This AI is fascinating. Whenever I get a spare bit of time, I'm always playing around with it, seeing where I can use it. So taking advantage of a bit of time, probably because I'd imagine not many CISOs can get the time they need to really dig into it.
Absolutely. I mean, not many people that are working right now can get the time to dig into it. Like everybody's super busy. But so it was a nice opportunity. So a couple things that again, I think could be helpful for aspiring CISOs.
Yeah.
One, I realized that I think the ability to learn things with using AI it's underestimated, right? So I believe like pretty firmly that anyone can learn anything in a very rapid time. And for now, there's a window open where it's free, right? So if you've got the curiosity, if you've got the passion to follow through on multiple threads and dig into things and interrogate the AI and use it in a bunch of different ways, you really can develop a deeper understanding now at this point in time than you could have at any other point in history. So there's a big opportunity just to do that piece. The second thing is that, as I sort of alluded to, you can now, even if you're not you're not a coder, you don't have deep technical experience, as of like a few months ago, you could pretty much build whatever you want, right? So by learning about something at a deep level using AI and then building that thing, it really accelerates your learning. So there's a big opportunity I see for people that are really digging in right now. I know people don't have a lot of time, but like when you get some spare time, dig in about something you're curious about and really try and understand it, right? And so if you want to be a CISO, that's a great domain for you to dig into. And I feel like if you're not doing that, there's a gulf that's opening up between you and the people that are, right? So it's a good idea to just get on that and take it as far as you can take it. And the third thing that's maybe more directly relevant is that in the networking I've done, a lot of the people I've talked to, a lot of companies right now are just trying to figure out the governance around AI, right? There's a lot of potential. Companies are very constrained by the
Mm.
regulations and just by the simple fact that one slip up and there could be a brand impact. There's revenue at stake. So if you can sort of dig into that area, I think there's an opportunity if you can help companies be able to use AI safely. That is going to be very compelling, right? So
Yeah.
it's not solved yet, but like it's something that is, I think, you want to skate to where that puck is going, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great opportunity, and you are right. I think if you're not on top of it, then you're being left behind already, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so I think the more stuff you can do, the better. We've done a lot of people know us, Tyro Security, for our staffing side of our business, but we do have an arm that does penetration testing, risk assessments, that sort of work, and we've had
yeah.
some fascinating AI penetration tests, chat bots, some really, really interesting stuff. And it's fascinating to see how you can get around it and what sort of information's in there. We've
So
probably got, yeah, go on, sorry.
there. Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead. I was just say you're using it to basically attack AI, like AI tools.
Yeah.
Okay. And then are you using AI to augment your ability to attack, to do
Uh,
the
it's a
prevention?
little bit. There are
Yeah,
some things that we do. I won't go into detail, but there's some stuff that we do that it makes us way more productive, so we can get more done in a short period of time, for
sure,
sure.
sure.
But the stuff that I'm seeing is that's really fascinating. We've done a few chatbots and playing around with sort of poisoning, context, all the sort of stuff um, that actually somebody that doesn't have to be super super technical to be able to do. Right? They need to understand what's happening,
Yeah,
and then they need to be able to play around and switch up how they're sort of injecting prompts to get the data that it's refusing to get. I mean, it's great fun. From the beginning, I'm obviously not doing that. We have professional pen testers, and that's what they've done for years.
sure, sure.
But I would say, even from my own personal point of view, like when I created Route to CISO, part of the logo is a background with getting root on what I said a server was, a CISO server, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I played around with that. If some people
Yeah.
have noticed and said, "Hey, I see what's going on there," and I went to AI and I was like, "This is what I want," and they're like, "No, we can't show you how to get root." And I just played around with how I asked it, how
Yeah,
I positioned myself, the position I asked them to be in. I want you to be checking my work. What would be the correct answer? And eventually, I got what I was after from it.
yeah.
And so even that, for me, a recruiter really was so much fun to play around with. So I think, yeah, when you've got the time to do it, it's an amazing thing. Now, I want to jump into your actual job search. I know you've worked pretty hard on putting some stuff together, and I'd love to sort of hear a bit more about it. But also, I think our audience would be really beneficial for those people that are out there that are searching right now.
On the tool.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, like so, it's a job search management tool, but really, like it should be used for your entire career,
Hmm.
right? So I'm building this thing out, but like I'm going to use this for the rest of my life. And the idea is that if you look at it, at one end, one way to look at it is it's a CRM, right?
Right.
So you've got contacts, you've got companies, you've got your all the materials that you need to store, right? Because nowadays you don't just have one resume, right? You have multiple resumes, as you know,
Mhm.
for that are tailored resumes for specific roles sometimes, where you're trying to highlight your the skills that matter, right? You've got all those materials, you've got positioning statements. You want to have questions. There's just a ton of stuff that you want to store and then have access to, right? And also use AI to generate these things too. So, you hook it up to your open AI API, whatever you're using, and you can then develop more tailored uh, uh, content for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, but what I did is I just started off. I went into I think ChatGPT and I said, here's the problem I'm trying to solve. I want to create a PRD, product requirements document, right? And I spent like an hour working with ChatGPT and going through different things. I looked at some other things that are out there. right, to solve this problem. Very simple and like not really tailored to what I wanted to do. So some limited knowledge from that, but I spent a lot of time building out this PRD, right? And then I put it into Cursor, but you can use any one of these tools, and just built out like a simple version of it. And then I just started using it. Like right out of the gate, I just started using it. And immediately as I used it, because I'm storing on my local device and because it's very easy to change, I could just go through and go, you know what, like this is my real workflow as I'm actually like talking with a recruiter, and then I want to capture this. And so maybe not the best way to do it, and probably not the most disciplined way, but I just spent a lot of time grinding it out and making changes quickly. And I had it literally is like do something, make the code change. The tools like Cursor and Cloud Code are so powerful that like you can do it that way now. You can actually just go through and make changes by change. And after grinding it out for like a week or so, I have something that's pretty cool and useful. And the thing too is the sky's the limit. Like you have to. The challenge I have right now is I love the tool. I'm enjoying the process, but like I could endlessly like make it better, endlessly
Right.
enhance it. But I kind of have a job to do. So yeah, so the tension between those two things is I'm spending too much time on the tool, to be honest, because it's so much fun.
But I found that people that are passionate in our industry, if I think about most of the people I know, they've always got sort of a project they're working on. There's always something they spend their evenings. I mean, as
Yeah,
technologists, playing around, whether it's trying to hack something or put something together, or in this case, play around with AI to get something that helps you and in your job search. Do you want to share a bit? I know when we spoke yesterday, you shared a little bit about how it's sort of habit tracking and what it's doing for you, because I think that's really useful for people out there that are looking.
yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned before that like I just started building things to solve all the problems that I had, right? So one of those things was habit tracking, right? So if you're not familiar with the habit tracker, it's not really a task manager. The basic idea behind it is that there are certain things that you do every day or every week. They're not projects, they're not things that end. They're things you want to do every single day and every week that you're essentially trying to create an identity, right? Like the example is exercise, right? So you can put something in a habit tracker, like a line item that's you're going to exercise, and you're going to do it every single day, and then you go in the habit tracker and you click it off once you're done with it. So essentially, it's a way of um, forming habits and making you stick to those habits, right, every single day until you become essentially the a person that just exercises, right? And so I created that habit tracker, and you had all kinds of whistles and bells, like timers, and you do this 2 times a day. And my exercise thing has like a little notebook, so I can record that I did such and such on my exercise machine or whatever. So it's got all this information, and it's a little bit gamified. So when you complete your habits, there's confetti and stuff like that. But what I realized too is that for job hunting, it's really, really important to have things that happen in a cadence, almost like when you're at your job. Because if you don't, you'll get kind of unmoored,
Hmm.
and you'll drift off, and you won't do the things you need to do. So I just said port my habit tracker into my tool for career management or job hunting, whatever. And now I've got like 5 or 6 things that I tick off every single day, and they're along the lines of first thing in the morning, you look and see if there are jobs you want to apply to because you want to be the first one in, right? And then there's an hour spent doing networking. Like I do 5 outreaches to find people to network with and send outreaches, training, and it's just 5 or 6 things that I do every single day. Now I haven't been successful yet doing it, and part of it's because I'm still building things.
Yeah.
But like I want to make it manageable, so I just execute these things. It's a cadence, and now it's just what I do,
Yeah.
and then I get get momentum. So
It's
so
a
that
work in progress. Like that stuff like that is always going to be in a work in progress, right? So it's probably going to be difficult to ever get to the end of I checked that off completely.
yeah, yeah,
It reminds me a lot, I've been in recruitment 25 years, and it reminds me a lot of, the good recruitment consultants were very organized, right? They did certain things at certain times of the day, and they would break down their day into blocks to make sure that they were getting everything and achieving stuff. And then, the gamifying it. kind of turns it into something where there's a little mini reward. Because in recruitment, for instance, if you're only celebrating every time you place somebody, right, you're not doing that several times a day. You're probably not even doing that every day, right? It takes time to build up.
Yeah.
And even the
Yeah.
most successful recruiters are not necessarily like seeing that much volume, and so you've got to be able to celebrate your other wins. So I
Yes.
love this. I love this idea. I think it's something that definitely will also keep people on. I'll say the straight and narrow, right? Because if you're no longer working, or if you're one of the people that have been laid off, or you've got all day, it's very easy to sit down to do something and get to your end of the day and feel like disappointed. I didn't get what I wanted
Yeah.
to get done because I worked on this and I worked on that. So I think that helps with that motivation.
Absolutely. The psychology of it's really interesting, and like having some sort of tracker can help you with the psychology piece. So the example is like, so if I have a streak of 5 days in a row, like I keep tracks of streaks, right? 5 days in a row that I have done 5 outreaches. Like on that sixth day, I just don't feel like, for whatever reason, I'm low energy. Like, but I want to keep that streak going. So
Yeah.
there's like you put in things like that. There's lots of different things like that that you add into it that just keep you going until you actually become that person that's what you do. You get up and make the donuts.
And I feel like this is one of those things where it can gradually learn what you're doing, what you're looking at. So if you're getting emails, let's say, with jobs, and it can even you can have it where it automates and sorts through those jobs, and it gradually learns what kind of jobs are a good fit for you. Um,
Mhm.
because at the moment, the AI, this push with AI, where people are just willy nilly using it. Um, all of a sudden, like, these jobs are getting thousands of applications. Put a CISO job up, 1,000 applications in 48 hours, and
Yeah.
95% of those people don't meet the basic requirements, because then
Yeah.
they're just using AI to send out a lot of stuff. Whereas what you're using it is almost like that personal assistant, motivator that keeps you doing the stuff that you need to do. And I think that's where that's where one of the biggest wins of AI can be for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm using it in a very targeted way. Like I've only applied to two jobs so far. I'm using it very heavily on the networking side right now and tracking that. But I will go look at more positions. Um, but yeah, like this sort of spray and pray thing, I don't think is the right way to use it. It's not, and you can do a lot better if you use these tools intelligently.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where you can lose some of your brand or reputation if you're spraying and praying stuff, and people are like, I keep seeing this name come up and they're not even relevant.
Yeah,
Even when there's suddenly a job that where it is relevant, people are not looking at you. And I think that's where, this is route to CISO. And I think the people that we have on here, and the people, a lot of the people that are wanting to move in that direction, are putting a lot more thought into how they go about doing this stuff to make it efficient and accurate. Rather than the spray and pray approach, which I don't think is used by is being utilized by people that are a little bit more senior in their thought process, I guess.
yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of it is you're building the relationships, you're building up capital with people, you're adding value, like when you're networking with people, and it's reciprocal. And like I think that's completely different from just firing off 100 resumes a week to job application to or applying to 100 jobs. It's just, it just doesn't seem like that's a good approach.
Yeah, no, definitely, it's definitely not. If I look, I wouldn't be in the business here that I'm in, and I wouldn't have had a business since 2012 if it wasn't for building a network and a reputation, and creating relationships. And I think you can use AI and still create those relationships, but you have to be really careful about how you use it. And that's why we're using it in a few areas of our business, but we're quite limited in other areas, because this is about sort of trust and relationships. And
Yeah.
if you give that away, and let something else do it for you, it's a quick way to lose that, especially in the cybersecurity world.
Absolutely. Companies, I think, are very conservative right now. At least the leaders that I've talked to, and they should be, right. They rightly so. It's going probably slower than you would think, but outside the corporate environment, you have an opportunity to really like explore, and you want to do it in a safe way, right? Like you obviously you don't want to install open claw right on your personal computer and let it rip, which think some people actually did that a few weeks ago, but I feel like you have the opportunity to, if you set up your own sort of sandbox, to kind of play around with stuff that you can't really play around with in the corporate environment, and really learn a lot. So I think, and one other thing that I think is been helpful to me personally is that, like, as I, build things and move through the different phases, like, I'm kind of seeing things from the eyes of the other stakeholders that I worked with, right? So from the CISO perspective, I'm trying to reduce risk. I'm trying to avoid like a severe incident, right? So I'm obviously all about like adding security controls, right? And of course, like intellectually, like I'm understanding the challenges that the different teams, like the development team and the tech ops team, have in terms of like getting the work done. But like actually building things and trying to ship things, if you're comfortable with that, and going through the entire process and seeing the trade-offs, the tension between security and shipping things, is just super helpful to see things through that lens.
Mm-hmm.
Gives you a little bit more, I think, empathy and a more visceral understanding of like the challenges that the teams you work with face.
Yeah, 100%. And people need that kind of experience and need to feel that to become good CISOs, right? I talk a lot about different attributes CISOs need in the full episodes and what are important. And a lot of the stuff you're talking about there are key things. So, wow, we have really talked on here. We could carry on for ages. I just want to thank you for your time, Ben. I think we've given people a little bit of an idea of the sort of stuff you can do. We've not given them the answers, which is perfect, because that's what people need to get out and find. They need to go and find their own answers. They need to find the tools that work for them, and they need to go and experience and play about with a lot of the stuff that's out there to find out what works.
Yeah, and hopefully this is something that sort of piques people's interest. But super interesting to talk about this stuff.
100%. Thank you so much, Ben. I thank Chrissy for introducing us as well. So thank you, Chrissy.
Yes,
and thanks to our audience as well for joining us for another bite-sized episode. And watch this space. Every week on Tuesday, new episodes released. So keep checking us out. Reach out to us if you want us to talk to anybody in particular. Reach out if there's any subjects that you want us to cover, or any things that have got you scratching your head you want some advice on. I'm happy to go through my network and see who are the experts out there on this and who can I talk to about it. So thank you again, Ben. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you for listening to the Route to CISO Byte Size podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you keep an eye out for season 3 of the full Route to CISO podcast. And in the meantime, stay up to date by liking, commenting, and of course, subscribing to our channel. Thank you.